about different love.
Yeah.
Shit. Did you do your notes?
What? Oh yeah, got a little book.
You have a Moleskine book?
Yep. That's a. You know what this is?
No,
You had the right name. It's a Moleskine.
it's a Moleskine.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm having someone knock on my door though. Let me see. On the grass door.
He's gone.
It disappeared, right? When I go into the background.
Yeah, I like that.
Bam again. That's good. Let's do.
All right, so today we're talking about different love
Yeah.
and what memories you have of the project.
Yeah.
So we'll just go. You want to just go track by track?
That's what I did. Yeah. I went track by track, and I have like a whole paragraph for each track. So it's
Oh my God, that's great. Yeah. Well then, do you want to share first what your thoughts are?
I don't know. I don't. I did it like 4 days ago, so I don't remember really which one is the most interesting. Do we just go like?
We go track by track.
First one?
20 songs. We'll just talk about every song,
Okay,
and
so
then whatever's interesting we'll use in the video.
yeah, that's good. So the first track is called "Owing the Opera," and do you remember?
Yes. Let me get my notes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, you remember. That's good. It's a good start.
Good start.
So that one is just the weirdest fucking. That's the weirdest one, really. The weirdest backstory, I think, from all of them. Maybe the least interesting as well, because it's just a whole bunch of shit. But well, the first note I have though, it's not about the backstory. It's I was never happy with the clavinet sound on that one. That's the first thought I had. And I don't know your thoughts about the sound of that song. Do you have any?
I think the clavinets were too loud.
Very loud. Yeah.
Yeah, the clavi is like very harsh
Very
sound.
hard. Yeah. MIDI clavinet sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then so the name, the backstory of the name came from like an animated story that I came up with a friend of mine that never came about. But I have one drawing to show of all that, the process that, I mean, I think like 1 or 2 years we were talking about making that, and it never happened. But I made a drawing of the main idea. Oh my God, that's gonna be hard. Do you think can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. I've never seen that before.
You've never seen that? That's been in my room for, I don't know, many years. I think before we met even.
What was the idea behind that drawing?
So the idea was about this, this cartoon series where there were like how do you say, anthropomorphized animals.
Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic animals, and
like Zootopia.
Yeah, but at the same time they lived with normal animals, like and humans as well. So it was about this family where the teenager that was a anthropomorphic pig, he wanted to be a human, a full human being. He was ashamed of his nature, and so he has one nightmare where he puts on a human hands that he cut up, like a serial killer. Like in the dream, is like he's a serial killer, where he has pieces of human limbs, and so he puts on like a human hand inside of, he puts his hoof sticking inside of a hand, like if it was a glove that he puts on, and so he has like he's very depressive, kind of like an emo peak or something. He has dreams like that. So that's the idea, and so I wanted to make a soundtrack for that. So that was the why I started with that track, and then I gave it to you, and because I wasn't happy with the sound, I guess. So.
All I have written down is that it started as an instrumental from you, and that I added little percussion elements with Paul and some voices.
Yeah.
But I think the song itself serves as a nice tone setter for the record. And it just kind of gets everyone ready for a very grand, epic experience, an adventure.
A grand epic adventure, but very, very virtual, I guess, right? So that's the both elements at once, because and I think that's good because it represents how we make the album separately. And that's the theme of this documentary we're doing right now as well. And so the Owing the Opera was kind of like a very grand as grand as what our will was to make art, right? But at the same time, very maybe rough, meaty, and virtual, which was very similar to how we spoke and how we collaborated, which was all through the internet. So I think
very digital. Yeah.
Yeah. And so no one. I guess we talked about this, but it's true that I don't know if people. It's not hip anymore to talk about internet collaborations because everyone does it now, and it's true. It's become very mainstream, and so I guess it's just starting to hear. Oh, there's some other people that collaborated online, but I think it is interesting in a way because it's the first collaboration. You hear about people, oh yeah, we made a song together, and I sent him some stamps, and we made a song. But the first collaboration we did was a 20-song album. I think that might be interesting. I don't know if I guess just the sheer amount could be interesting to someone. But it's funny because with the sheer amount of things, and I'm going out on a tangent, but it's true that I mean, you've made like a lot of albums. I don't know how many, but like is it 50 or 60 now or something like that?
It's over 50.
Over 50. So and I only have like I don't know, like 10 or something. And so, but even with 10 albums, I remember the first time I went to the school that I'm studying at now, and the first thing I said, which was very dumb of me to say, I was very naive to say something like that. But the first thing I said to someone when I met them, which was going to my school, which was a music, oriented school, it was to learn music. So I was like, hey, do you have any albums online, or do you have any projects on the internet that I can check out or something? And normally the answer was like no, or they didn't answer really. So they went on, no, I'm doing things like that. And I think and then they asked me back, and I could say I have 10 albums. People would look at me like if I was fucking crazy, like a fucking maniac that makes fucking doo-doo feces with, just fucking shit, the worst shit that, just pile on shit on top of shit. I think that's, I have that memory of the first, that look that guy gave me of, you're fucking, you must be fucking retarded. You must be dumb.
Oh, Frank Zappa used to say musicians are the scum of the earth.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that quote.
Eat My Head Like an Insect. We're going to talk about the next song, track 2.
Yeah, so what did you remember?
I have started as an Adrian idea, So I remember that it was probably one of the first songs that you sent me.
Yeah, I think
for the collaboration, but it was probably one that you had kind of started earlier.
Yeah.
I have that the timing on the bridge drives me crazy, drives me nuts.
Yeah, I have notes on that as well.
That there's way too much percussion in the song in general. Way too much.
I guess it's for, to make up for the shaky tempo, I think, right?
Yeah, we kind of wanted to like have each percussive element kind of push over the bar line. So like at the point where like you don't really know where the downbeat is. It's just like it's a flat rhythmic expanse.
Yeah.
You have any of these areas that you could rely on as a rhythmic thrust, like, but it's basically it's like going outward instead of just like one straight thing, with all the different rhythmic elements.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think that might be the first song we did that had the Avant-Garde outro.
True, and I love that. Yeah. I remember you sending me that, and I thought that was very cool. With you just went away.
Oh, this little thing just turned on. Sorry.
That's good. But yeah, I thought that was fun. I think I thought something about the scary atmosphere at the end of the track, and you've made like some other tracks like that where you send me back something that surprises. That's very, and you made something like that even with songs of mine that I just send you, and you just have like an outro where you play drums and yell, and just fucking yell your heart out or something.
Yeah.
And it's good. I like it. It becomes kind of more theatrical. It becomes more of a narration of a story, and I think that's interesting because that's something that I think we do a lot with our lyrics. I guess in general we tell stories in our collaboration, and I like that about it.
I have that Nelson. It was Nelson's idea to do, because we had recorded on the outro, like the voices going like oh, and like it was just stagnant, just like oh. And then he wanted it to like cut like like where it gives out. That was his idea, to kind of cut in there and create that kind of crazy, like it's like phased almost because it's in and out.
Yeah, it's kind of
randomly cutting on the vocals on the outro.
It reminded me of a trailer of a scary movie or something.
Yeah, it's very much like a horror film kind of, because it's very jarring. It's like quick cuts. Yeah. And I literally took the cursor and just quickly like randomly selected spots to cut.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. It sounded like in the cuts it could show up like a title or something. That was funny.
Do you have any other thoughts on the song?
Let me see. So, yeah, about the tempo, I said something. My keyboard solo was completely out of tempo, and I remember you complaining about it. But then you just left it as it was, and you built on it, and you played the keyboard solo I played. So you and Nelson played on it the same notes at the same weird displaced tempo, and just reinforced how out of it was. And I thought that was a cool thing that we did a lot, where if something was shitty and badly played or badly recorded, we just used it as best as we could, and we tried to make it fit somehow.
I think it was like a Toru Takemitsu thing that you know Toru Takemitsu, the Japanese film composer?
I don't know. I don't think so.
He always thought that like the most interesting music was like the combination of like well played music and like really poorly played music. So like perfect elements and imperfect elements. And so like if you have something that's already fucked up to begin with, like a passage or like a piano part or a guitar part or whatever, or a drum part, and then instead of trying to correct that and then have the perfected thing be the thing you build off of, like you said, it's more interesting to take the broken thing and then try to use that as your foundation and build off of that. It's far more interesting because no one would try to do that, and so you're going to get a result that is unlike anything anyone else is going to make. It's a completely fresh result.
Definitely, because you couldn't like there's accidents that you couldn't come up with, and so they lead you to different paths that you couldn't normally go to. So I think that's great, just to find sounds that surprise oneself.
Yeah, that definitely became something we did on a lot of the songs on the album.
Yeah, it's true.
Any other thoughts on the narrative of that song?
Yeah, so let me see. Well, also, it's true. I wanted to say that it had like a Brian Wilson's style vibe, this song as well, with the different. So what we did a lot, also what this song reminded me of, was that we do a lot of unison melodies.
Yep.
And with different timbres and stuff, and I think that's a very Brian Wilson kind of vibe, where you create your own sound by mixing others together. And I think that's an interesting influence we have there. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. All right, I think we're good on that one.
Yeah, yeah. You see? Yeah.
It's a funky song.
Funky.
I got a government phone.
Why? What is that?
So like, this is so weird. So the government like sent me this phone. It's like free phone. It's just like for emergencies. But I have to turn it off. Power off. There we go. I think it's just so they can spy on me, but I'm not sure. It's a free phone. It's just like it makes calls. You can text on it.
Is that a service to every American citizen or something?
Only 4 people.
It's people that cannot pay a phone.
I mean, yeah. It's just it's a poor people phone.
Man, I'm sorry.
Stuck on a train.
Oh my god. Okay.
Started as an Adrian idea. What do you have?
Is that it? Is that all you have?
No, I have a ton else. Baseline is great. I really think the baseline is amazing in this song.
Baseline is beautiful.
Say so
Max Devereaux. What?
I think it's a good baseline. I think it's very melodic. I think it has a nice like feel for the song.
You make great bass lines. I like them. I think you have good.
I think some are better than others, but this one is maybe one of the best.
Well, I think sometimes you go like a little too far sometimes with the melodic stuff, and so it goes out of like it makes like a new song on top of the other song.
It becomes like a counter melody instead of what it should be, which is a bass line. And I've learned a lot about writing bass lines since I made Different Love and since I even made any of the other ones. But I've gotten a lot more minimalistic in my bass playing, I think. I play a lot more just rhythm-based bass.
Yeah. But I think it's good sometimes from trying to get a melody even where one might think there's no melody, no bass melody could fit in. You can find some nice melodies from that.
Well, yeah, and the bass playing that I do like really was inspired.
Oh my god, you're lagging right now. I cannot hear you at all.
Seriously?
Like you're mute all of a sudden.
What the fuck?
The image is pretty much the same, but all of a sudden you're muted, so I don't know what that's about. I also closed the photo booth application, so it couldn't be that because it would make the testing.
Check 1 2 where it says starting recording and we're in. How's the audio?
Good. I hear you well. Do you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay, good. Let's do it. So we were on which one?
Stuck on a Train.
Stuck on a Train. Yeah, you were talking about The bass line and bass lines you bring?
Yeah, the bass line. And yeah, I thought the bass line was melodic because my bass playing is very inspired by Paul McCartney, his style,
Yes.
as well as James Jamerson, who played a very melodic style of bass, kind of found its way all around. And that style is very risky because sometimes it accentuates the song and makes the song even like a bigger, better composition, and sometimes it can detract, like you said, from the song and cause like a counter melody effect that fights the like the actual effect of the song and makes it a lot harder to discern what the melody is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a matter of the space and how much space do you have, and right. It's combining like a classical counterpoint, and so sometimes it doesn't work because if your song doesn't have a space because it has many, I don't know, rhythmic punches of chords and stuff like that, maybe that's a good, I don't know, depends. Do you have anything else?
Yes, I have. I'm really happy on the first chorus specifically that we kept. Speaking of which, we kept the voice cracks in.
Oh yeah,
which give a lot of emotion. Maybe then some different love I'll find. I think that's when it is. But there's a part where the voice really cracks.
Yeah, I remember. I wasn't sure about that at the time, but it's true. When I recently heard it again, I thought it didn't cross my mind even.
So at first you didn't like that. You thought that would maybe too big of a risk.
Yeah, well, I thought it distracted from the song. I thought it made the song not as enjoyable or something, but it is. To me now, it's enjoyable. I think that happens a lot sometimes when you create something that you're very close with, and also when you're collaborating and when you get something back that you didn't expect. Sometimes it's you cannot really reconcile your idea of how the song was or you wanted it to be and how it's going, and I think it's, for the most part, it might be better to not have too many preconceived ideas of where it should go, really, just to let it be, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that too, I really like how you had come up with the verse chords and kind of had there's the kid stuck on a train. You had that image set up, and then I kind of took that and ran with it and thought about what the chorus might be and built the chorus over. And that's one of the few songs on the album I think that has the chorus is just right over the verse chords. It's the same chords the whole time.
Yeah.
And just with a different melody, and I think that was interesting. But the idea was still the same. But because the chords don't change throughout the song, I think it really accentuates the fact that you're stuck on the train.
That's exactly what I wrote.
Stuck on the chords, yeah. So you're stuck on the same chord.
The metaphor, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that works well. Also, speaking of the train vibe, like even more so, how we began the rhythmic idea for like how the chord should be was using the train sound effect and having the sound effect at the beginning starting to like ramp up in speed, and then the sound of like the tracks or whatever was like that was our first tempo for the song, and we use that.
Picking up speed until it's more or less even speed, like a train. I thought that was great, and that's one of the other surprises I was referring to earlier from the in my head like an insect, where you added the end coda, the scary kind of out of field coda, and you also added this the train sound effect, and I think that adds a lot to the story as well. It makes it more narrative, and I was also had something else about. Let me check my notes 1 second. I had oh yeah. That song, I started with the verse and with the chords and the melody of the verse, and if I could just, my type at the time, and now not so much, but definitely it's kind of like a style I have where, I think I tended not to want to have like similar parts or whatever. I don't know why, but I think if I could have composed the whole song by myself, the chorus could have been like a completely different section with different chords and stuff like that, different melody.
Probably wanted that, but I think the melody I came up with was so strong for the chorus that it kind of blew out any ideas that you might have had about changing the chords there.
Definitely, yeah. That was the thing. I thought that made the song way better. I mean that melody you found in there, which I think finding melodies, and that's how we compose a lot. I think you and me, where we carve melodies out of chord progressions, and that's a way we commonly do it. At least I do it. I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and so and I think you carved a beautiful melody there, just like if you were sculpting, right, on a rock. You have a rock, that's the chord progression, and you sculpt the melody. I think that's
a face.
Yeah.
Or a horse. I also think that's probably the best. I think that's the best guitar solo on the album.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's a good. I didn't think about the solo too much. It's true. On this one, I think there's a better solo on the album.
I don't think so. I think it's so beautiful. I love the guitar solo on the album.
I don't know if by the guitar solo you mean was it? I don't remember.
Because
very Indian.
It's very strange. It's a strange guitar solo, but I think it's the most effective one.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's about it for that song.
Beautiful.
But I would say this is Stuck on a Train is probably one of the most effective songs, effective collaborations on the album.
Definitely. I think it's one of the better results. Definitely. Of course.
What it's interesting because well, here we are. We're talking about different love. What I think is interesting is that you are in the same room right now that you recorded the album in.
Yes.
And I am not in the same room.
You've moved rooms a lot, right?
I've been in many rooms since I met you. I've been in many cities. I've been in many states of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think those are linked.
Are what?
You think those two are linked? The space of mind and the physical space?
No, they're not linked. They're very different. They're very separate. Let's talk about pain in general.
Well,
I have that it started as an Adrian idea.
Adrian idea? What?
You had a lot of ideas, but I think I put a lot of your songs right at the beginning of the album. Interesting. So, a good story to tell our viewers is the track listing, the order of the tracks. We could talk about that.
Okay.
Do you remember about that?
Nothing.
Really?
Virtually nothing. Yeah, about the sound.
Okay, well, maybe this I'll remind you. So when we made the order of the songs, there's 20 songs, right? It's a lot of songs, and we had virtually, when we showed each other our track listing, we had virtually the same track listing.
Oh, really?
For this record.
Oh, that's good. It's true. Yeah, now I remember. It's good.
Yeah. I think it was almost exactly the same. I think maybe it was maybe one song was different, but otherwise it was like almost exactly the same.
It's like if you were telling me something about someone else and an album someone else made.
I'm like Nardwuar.
I forgot completely. Fucking hell. Yeah.
Pain in general. So I still have no idea what you say in this song, in the lyrics.
You have no idea, but you made your own verse though, right?
Yeah. So I was going to talk about how that worked.
Yeah. Go on.
I never asked you what you said. So what I did when I wrote my verses, I wrote a verse combining words that I heard you say or thought I heard you say.
Yeah.
I used some of the words that I thought you said, which I think were not the same, and then I actually, and then I added words to fill it in. So like I thought you said double helix. But you
I didn't. You
did not say double helix, but I thought you said it, and so I used that.
At what point though? I wanna know what I said on that instead of that.
It's the part where
Very Indian as well, melody.
Great melody, amazing melody you came up with for that song. Really, really love that melody. And I think the melody inspired my delivery of my verse for sure, and gave me, sort of gave me a sort of like, it felt dark. It feels like a dark but haunting and beautiful, and it's a good song.
Well, I think it's one of the worst songs actually. I don't like that one at all.
I really like it. I think it really sums up, like it's a very unusual song. I think it's very unusual.
Weird. I actually made the first draft as an exercise, as a harmonic exercise to make it. A teacher told me do the weirdest, not the weird. I don't know. He told me to make a progression, and I think I was trying to impress him or something. So I made a weird ass fucking progression, and I made a weird ass melody on the verse, and then he just. I don't know. I don't like it very much. I think it's interesting, but I don't think it's beautiful. I don't think it's that beautiful, really.
I really like it. I think it's a great song. I think the imagery is fucked up, considering like what I'm talking about, and then considering what I don't know what you're talking about, but what I assume you're talking about. I think the song has very fucked up imagery and a fucked up melody and fucked up heart. So eventually, it's like in this realm. That it's very unusual. It's a very unusual song. I really like it. Nelson tried to play the soprano as high as possible on his soprano, and I remember I loved recording that with him because I was with him for, I think, almost all the horn parts on this album.
In different love, yeah.
We recorded together in Milwaukee.
I think that's good. That's a good way that you worked on it. That kind of collaboration. I think that's great. Yeah, I love the horns on this album, how they came up.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, and they were just so free and fresh and just crazy. I know we added porn samples in the back of.
That's hilarious. I'm not, you've done that with more songs as well. I remember one song that I sent you, just for a record of mine. I sent it to you just to collab. You send me back this like a porn sound.
Yeah, just like somebody like moaning basically in the background. Yeah. But I knew for this one, because I was collaborating with a Spanish artist, that I needed Spanish
porn.
Yeah, Spanish moaning, because it's different. It's a different. The moaning it sounds different in Spanish.
Interesting.
And then there's like monster like screaming. What monster? But there's a monster screaming in the background of this one over the porn, and I like the combination of the monster and the porn, because then the pain that we're feeling could be like the pain of, it could be like the good pain, or it could be like the bad pain.
Well, let's talk about the lyrics, because it was I think, well, you've never, so you've never understood the lyrics, right?
What do you say in the song? What do you say in the
So
first?
I think I made that song when I was like 17 or something, and I was very I think, and also I did the first the idea of the lyrics of the "In My Head Like an Insect" when I was around that age, I think. And I was very nervous and scared of women in general. So it was more of those lyrics were very anxious, very talking about how at the same time I might like someone in my class or something. I also despised them because I liked them. Just weird, like very how do you say? I was like that look. Well, I just felt it was unnerving to me to how to relate to women in general, and so and it was a very big part of my life for whatever reason. I thought that was very important for me or something, and which it is, so it is important, but I don't think it's as important as I gave it credit for, and and what is that? and so it's about kind of like the duality of how and I think a lot of men are suffering from this nowadays, so with a very weird relationship with sex and women, I think. And so you don't think that happens to
No, right. You're right. You're so right, and that's why it's so poignant that we use the porn sample in it because, yeah, that's like basically all the men of this era have. They really don't have social skills. They're not equipped to figure out how to communicate with women or to have normal sexual relationships or healthy relationships with women. But that's not just men and women. It's like everybody, everybody right now, regardless of gender, identity, binary or whatever, is equipped because it's such an isolated time. People are so focused on themselves. It's the most self-centered generation of all time. There's no room to be thinking about other people because we live in the first perspective world. Like, what do I see through my lens, through my screen, through my social media profile? What do I see? What's my experience? It's like, it's never communal. Like, and exactly. It's fake communal.
It's exactly, it's only fake communal, and it makes it very hard for people to make bonds because they are thinking about the bond in general instead of thinking about the other person, really. So they think about bonding. They don't think about the other person. And it's just I think and this song, for example, the lyrics say that how these people operate with other people in general. In this case, it's about women, but it's a man that doesn't understand women, and a man that's very isolated, and it's just scared of relationships and everything. And so in this song, it's the relation, the combination of how he sees women as goddesses, and at the same time how he despises them. So it's a horrible way to see anyone, really. And I think that happens when you are so isolated that in general all relationships with people become very painful and become definitely just a way of trying to reflect yourself on others instead of trying to see what other people are, right? And so what many men, for example, that are nervous talking to women, I think what they do is they try to see what they are in their eyes. They try to imagine. It's so bizarre because they try to imagine what the other person thinks, and then they see that as, oh, that's what that other person thinks, and they're just imagining it. And then at the same time, they apply that to what their identity is, right? And so it's all about them. So I think cowardice is linked with narcissism very tightly. So people that are very cowardly, I think they're very narcissistic at the same time most of the time, because they are only thinking about how they look in relationship with others instead of thinking about the other people and what they might be, and just, generally.
That's, I think, a really good way to sum up the song is that, or at least the meaning of the song is that, yeah, narcissistic people are very cowardly, and that's sort of what the song could have. That could be a meaning of it.
Definitely.
Pain associated with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good for that one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
How I remember the melodies. The way that I remember the melodies is that I will go back and listen to these musics sometimes. It's a sort of like self-flagellation, because like I'll go and listen to them and I'll be like, damn. But they stick in my head. I mean, some of the songs like I've covered, like I've played in shows and things. Yeah. I Hold the Key was one of those songs, because I would play it with the little combo I put together in Milwaukee. Little rockin' teenage combo.
Teenage combo.
And we would do I Hold the Key, and it was always fun to play. And I really liked this because there's a switch halfway through the song, and the feel changes, and it's like and it turns into that kind of like galloping vibe instead of like the really, because it has a really weird feel. It's like and I remember when Paul was doing the drums for it, he was like, I don't even really know if you need drums on any of these songs, because like your rhythmic ideas with all of these songs so far, because based on what he had heard, was like really, really strong, because we had basically built the structure of the song with the guitar and the bass, and built like a really strong rhythmic foundation. And I think he was hesitant to add drums on top of that, because it was so we were so confident with the feels of each song.
Do you think he said that just because he didn't want to do it?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like it, right? That's what you could say when it's actually the opposite, where it could be very hard for him to figure out how to play on the songs, which he did very beautifully in the end, though. But I think he might have been scared of it, right? Or what?
I don't know. I don't know about scared, but I feel like most times when I played the music, because when I had the collaborators, I recorded everybody. I don't think anybody sent me parts. Like I had everybody come in and I recorded them, which is rare. That's the only part of the album making process that was collaborative and not remote, basically, because everything else was pretty much remote between you and I. But when it came to the actual like musicians, I just had everybody come in and record their parts in the studio.
Basement studio.
The basement studio in Milwaukee. And everybody kind of seemed like they were kind of like, it was, hold on a sec. And everybody kind of seemed like it was sort of daunting, because it was like, what is this? What the fuck is this music? It doesn't sound like anything. It's complete bullshit.
I mean, it's kind of like how, I mean, if I heard like the demos that we had, and I heard some of them actually researching for this Skype call.
I want to hear those.
Yeah, and they are very scary. I mean, if I saw that someone sent me that to collab on, I would be very, very hesitant, because I would, maybe I could be appreciative of the ideas, but I could be very hesitant of the recordings. I mean, I could think it couldn't go anywhere as good as it ended up being, I think. Even though it's still very you know, trashy in some ways, but it feels good though. Anyhow,
It's a big fuck you, and I think most of the way you're talking right now is based on you now, because I think we as artists are like, I think we're inching towards more polished work, and we're trying to like make more polished work, and we're trying to make things that feel a little more tangible. And this,
other people, really, it's only to communicate to other people.
I mean, yeah, it's a refining. We're refining the art that we've been making for years. Is it as authentic? I don't know. Because it's like when you're innocent, like we were when we made Different Love, and we weren't innocent, but we were innocent in a sense because we didn't understand, like, this is not refined. This is extremely outlandish music, an outlandish way of making music.
That was the most refined recordings I've ever done, because before that, I was making music with an iPad. I was making music with GarageBand on an iPad. So everything sounded way better, you know, and a lot of the songs that you liked at first that we covered on this album that I made, you made them sound so much better because I was just working with MIDI and audio recorded by the iPad microphone of me singing and stuff. So.
But I think nowadays we would, I mean, we're very critical of it because it does sound raw. It's a very raw sounding record.
Very raw, yeah. But it's good. I like that. It sounds, you know, the this guy that I'm trying to do and I have this sleeps with the English sometimes, but still, and I'm also having worst English right now that at first when we met, which I was I was very nervous. I think at first when we met the first Skype call, I was so nervous because you know I was just your face is terrible, but I was you know I was very isolated with the music process, making music making music, and I didn't really show anyone in my surroundings my music, right? I was just putting it on SoundCloud, and that's it. And so having, you know, someone reach out that has made a lot of work and that I really like a lot of it, right? When you messaged me, I was just excited, you know, to and thinking about, am I gonna finally be able to share the music creation process with someone? Am I gonna be able to share my music with someone that also makes music? And you know, that was very exciting. Huh? No. The answer is no.
What, and then what did you find? Well, you were probably nervous twofold because you were nervous to share your music process with somebody else, and because you had to speak in English more because I don't speak Spanish.
That's true, yeah. You've never really tried to learn it either, which is great.
I should.
I don't know.
This is around like this.
Just fucking just the ass going.
Okay, we're gonna keep talking about I Hold the Key though. We gotta stay on track here.
Oh, truly, yeah.
You suggested the chorus chords. Some of them. In general, there was one chord that was really chill chord that you suggested.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can play it. No, I don't want to play it. You know the one. And that chord is really nice.
I forgot completely about the chord though. I don't know.
That spicy chord that you suggested, and it just made the song for me. It literally, I felt like once we had that chord, I was confident that that was going to be one of the best songs in the album. Between the weird feel and the weird outro, and then that one chord, and then essentially one of the things that I really love about that song, above all the other songs, is the just beautiful layering of vocals on it. I think the layering of vocals on that song is the best on the album. The swells, big vocal swells, I think are just amazing.
It's true. Yeah. Well, it was. I think the song is very, very interesting. You said it already, but the the feel of it and how free it is. I remember this song made me remember how your process was so different from mine, even back then, because I was very tied up with the BPM, and you. I don't know if you always work like this, but it seemed like you always worked without any BPM, right? So you always wanted to record things live, which is very weird because back in the day, I can understand how people might want to record without a BPM because you have the whole band together to play, right? But if you do it separately, as we did it without BPM, what you do is one does one feel. Well, basically, each we traded songs and where we started with the foundation, right? And so that one makes the foundation where the feel kind of is, right? And then the other has to try to hop on that feel afterward instead of playing together. So it's and that makes it that makes the album entirely, most of it, very free sounding, but at the same time weird because it's not as tightly as a band could play together, right?
I think that comes from the first band I ever played in. Really, was it not a band at all? It was playing in an orchestra, and in an orchestra, you're not playing, Mozart piece to a click.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're playing to the conductor, so it's essentially like the first person that lays down the track becomes the conductor, and everyone else follows like a school of fish behind that conductor. And essentially, that's kind of the feel of like 99% of the music that I do, because I rarely use a metronome or a click. Sometimes I would do a beatbox and like loop a beatbox over a track. I did that with a lot of early albums, but for this one, I think I did mostly just free, just playing, and just hoping that the inner tempo took over, the inner metronome would take over. And so it gives it that orchestral feel because the music is not it's not rigid, it's elastic, and it pushes and pulls like that. And I think that type of music to me was always more interesting anyway, because like you said, it feels free, but it also feels raw. It feels more immediate. It feels
more alive.
It doesn't feel as canned.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like that feel. I think to this day I still record music where I don't even use a metronome. I just play it, and just whatever it is what it is.
But I think the most interesting part about that is how you're trying to recreate that virtually, right? So I think that's the most interesting part where it's just you're like putting it's like if an orchestra, instead of recording all at once, it was just one violin
at a time.
I mean, that would be weird. I mean,
that is essentially what we were getting at then with the collaboration, because like the conductor does his thing, but it's your interpretation through a virtual medium of that conductor.
Exactly. Yeah. Very different.
I hold the key. Okay, Failing Colon.
Failing Colon, incredible song. I think this one was one of the most interesting ones in how it predicted things from each other, right? Because I first made like a draft of this track, which is a very, it's an instrumental electronic track, right? Very weird, I think. It has an orchestral feeling as well. I think a lot of the album does, but it has an orchestral feel because it's all about melodies, right? It's not the harmony is not just just strumming chords and stuff like that. It's all very counterpointy, and so, but the best thing was how I called it Failing Colon. This was the name that I had for it for a long time before even we met. I think I was searching for things to send you as well. Songs that I didn't release or thought that were unfinished and you could make better. And so I call it Failing Colon, and because I had some trouble, not my trouble, but then I then knew that you had Crohn's disease. I didn't know, and I sent this song to you. I think you tell me, did you talk to me about that at the time?
I told you, and I said it was a weird coincidence that you gave it that title.
Very weird, yeah. It was just coincidence of the cosmos.
A coincidence, but then that is why we kept the title, because the coincidence fit really nicely. So you had a bass line kind of, sort of just sketched in, and with like a MIDI bass thing, and I wanted to put a live bass on it, and I worked really hard, and I did, but I kept your same notes basically. I kept the same bass line, but I just played it through an electric bass and put a bunch of filters on it because I really wanted it to sound really funky. But I really do think that bass line is very beautiful and a very interesting bass line.
Thank you.
It's really good. Recording the drums with Paul was really fun because it was like very like just little things. He wanted to just add little elements because he liked the whole of what the drums were doing. So we did just little little percussive like crashes and little tings here and there to just accentuate certain parts. And then I remember, then I went with a third set of electronic drums, or a third set of drums, second set of electronic drums, and I recorded little things to give it a sort of like a counter rhythm type feel, like a polyrhythm kind of vibe, and that really, I think, once we had that, it was a really nice merge of analog and digital drums on that song, a nice combination on that song.
Yeah, it has a very bizarre feel as well. It's a very bizarre, kind of like Afro swingy a little bit. In that it's not, it doesn't sound like anything really, but it sounds cool. It sounds kind of like
it's a nice space.
Enjoyable.
It's a nice space, and there was a sample in there. We won't talk about that. There were some There's a nice horn hits.
What are you going to talk about?
Nothing that's gonna get us sued, man.
Oh, okay.
Nice horn hits on there that Nelson added.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Nelson texted me when we talked about him. Where'd you go?
I'm looking at the thing.
Your notes for that song?
Yeah. I think that's okay. I mean, I was gonna talk about the how the Crohn's disease, I think, it informed your relationship with death and how that made you impulsive and creative. I think that's something that I noticed about you soon, where you were very impulsive, and even I think with conversations like right now, if you don't want to talk about something, you just ignore it completely and keep moving, or make some weird movement. Like right now, you just make this where it made it like an effect with the background and stuff. Yeah, so I think that's interesting. You can ignore that right now if you want.
No, I mean, we could talk about it. I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, like, I mean, you said, so it makes me impulsive. Is that what you said?
Creatively, yeah. I think it makes you wanna do as most as you can before death.
Yeah. Well, anytime you have a near-death experience or a couple, you're gonna be like that. You're gonna be very impatient with your art and with your life in general, because you're gonna go, I don't have much time. I gotta keep making things. I gotta keep going. If I stop making things, I'm slapping that second chance in the face. I'm betraying that second chance or second or third or however many chances you get, and betraying that chance. So you have to keep making things, and you have to keep pushing forward as long as you draw breath.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Okay, so the next song that we're going to talk about is called Shock.
Nice.
Which I think is a terrible song.
Mm-hmm.
What I have in my notes is that it feels incomplete and too busy at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's I was gonna say, yeah, I didn't like how that turned out, but mainly because of my contribution to it. I think the song you had was pretty neat, was good. But I added some MIDI piano in the start that I hate. Then I also added like a new section that I hate. Doesn't have anything to do with the song. And but then, some friend of mine, which I think he rarely hears the music I make, ever. But suddenly, that guy that never hears, and he's he's very fond of Beyonce and Lady Gaga and Rihanna and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Then he really liked this song, particularly, of anything we've made. And I don't know if that means it's better or worse. Who knows, right?
Who knows? I mean, maybe it's catchy. It is a catchy song. That's actually have my notes. The word catchy.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think your verse is funny. The bass. I wrote that the bass is so horribly rushed. Love the feel switch at the end with the riff, the boom, 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 boom.
That's actually very good. Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, but that's very nice.
Yeah, I think that part is really cool. Yeah. I think the only thing to really talk about with this song, besides that riff, is the context with which the song was written and made. So, Different Love was made, for those of you that don't know, Different Love was made in 2017. It was right after Donald Trump became the president of the United States.
Oh, I forgot.
And so there was sort of a really weird climate because, I think a lot of people were in disbelief when he won the presidency. Essentially, yeah, I will never forget the night when he became president because I was prepping for a colonoscopy that night. And so I was just taking laxatives and I was just shitting my brains out. And that was not a good experience. And at the same time, watching the polls, and watching the election. And at the end of the night, we found out that he won. And I had to wake up and get my ass scoped out and penetrated and figured out. And I remember being just in the emergency or the hospital, as I was coming to, just irate and upset that he won because I was coming off the drugs, the sleepy drugs, and my ass hurt from the fucking scope, and I just felt like not only America had been fucked in the ass, I personally had been fucked in the ass. So I just felt bad, felt dark. And so the shock, and then so that's why at the end of the song we play the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh.
And that was sort of like Nelson started playing it while we were recording, and then I recorded him playing it on my iPhone, and then I played back the recording of him playing it to him and recorded that. So it's like 3 recordings happening at once, basically. His reaction, or the recording of him playing it, the recording of him playing it, and then his reaction.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's just 2. Fuck it.
It sounds like a mess.
It's a mess. Anyway, that's Doc. Do you have anything else to say about it?
Well, I think that's interesting. I think you were always very how do you say naive I think that in that political sense, because I think that at the time I didn't know shit about it, and I don't know that much about it either now because I don't live in America. But I do think that having someone that's very, well, he was a celebrity, right? Be the president. I think that's just a very natural way things were going. So it's nothing special, really. I think it's nothing to really seek out in history or anything like that, which I hear some people say that was the pinnacle of whatever. It is not, and it keeps going. It's a matter of just the theatrics of political discourse. Doesn't mean anything new is happening, I think.
I think you're right. We were naive as a people to be surprised by that because Ronald Reagan, there have been celebrity presidents since there were presidents, and it totally was plausible that he would win. We just couldn't believe it. People on the ground, especially, I think my issue was that I was isolated because in Milwaukee, that's like a very left-leaning city. And everyone there is pretty much Democrat and is pretty much, left-leaning. So from where I stood, it seemed completely implausible. But I didn't account for the fact that the rest of the United States is mostly rural communities, not urban areas like Milwaukee, which of course, the rural people, they're going to see a celebrity guy telling them what they want to hear, and they're going to go, fuck yeah, that's my guy. I'm going to vote for that guy. So shouldn't become as too big of a surprise.
Well, obviously, because but anyhow, the other people are, it's a matter of also, other people not talking about, we're talking about the rural people as if they were, not in the same country, which might be too big. I heard an American comedian or Irish, I don't know, but talk about it, calling whatever, but in saying that America's too big, the U.S. is too big for it to be one country. It doesn't make any sense, and it should be splitting right now in a civil war. I think that's. Ideologically, it is. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're heading there. I don't know if it'll ever come to blows, but definitely ideologically, the cities and the rural areas have different viewpoints for sure. Although I will say that something that's going to slow down that process of any sort of civil war happening is that COVID caused a lot of people that lived in cities to move into rural communities because they wanted to get out of the city, get away from large groups of people. So that's going to slow down any sort of real divide, because what's going to happen, all the city people are going to see how the rural people live, and they're going to realize that it's actually pretty sick to live amongst just the trees or a field or just be out in the middle of nowhere. They're going to see it's kind of awesome to be in there, and there's a reason why, there's a virtue to it, and so they're going to become a little bit more sympathetic.
Perhaps, yes.
Understand what it's like to be out in the middle of nowhere and have to get all of your news from, secondhand Fox News or some bullshit CNN or MSNBC or whatever mainstream media, that's where you're going to get your news. So your viewpoint's going to be very limited. You're not getting it from, somebody when you're talking in a city environment
it's not like city, the news are better though. I don't know. What are they?
It doesn't better. I'm just saying, but you have more opportunities for different viewpoints when you're only getting your viewpoint from one source, like mainstream news, because you live in the country, as opposed to if you live in a city amongst people from all over the world or all over America or different demographics, different types of people, different socioeconomic statuses. Those people talking to each other.
Sure, but I could argue most people, it doesn't matter your surroundings. Most people don't give a fuck about their surroundings. They just stick with one thing in their mind. They don't have time to be thinking. They obviously they have most people have everything figured out before any contact with the world. So I don't think that's you're dark right now. I don't see it. Yeah, yeah, that's not. You're very dark.
Am I very dark? Just before it was it's so bright. It's annoying.
It's hurting your eyes. What?
Yeah, maybe I'll put sunglasses on.
Put sunglasses. Well, I wanna dress up as well. Have the LA cap.
You still have that, huh?
Yeah, it's dirty.
I think we got it for shock, huh?
I think so. Nothing else to say.
Does it start? Wait for it.
Yeah.
Jean survived.
Jean.
You say Jean to survive.
Jean to survive.
Say it. Jean to survive.
Why? I just said it.
How did you say it?
I said it with a French accent. You like it? You like it?
I love it.
Okay.
It started as one of your ideas, and I put it's a loud song.
It's a loud song. It is. I love it.
I think it's mastered louder than all the other songs, which is really funny.
Yeah, maybe it was because you wanted it to sound better, and so you thought that louder was better because that song I made, and then you wanted it to sound better, which you did, and I appreciate that a lot, really, because before it sounded pretty crappy. You made it sound like a very vintage kind of way, I think. Even though it's too loud, it sounds organic. It sounds good.
By vintage.
Vintage. What do I mean?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, it sounds like I guess the way that the things are layered, the arrangement sounds vintage. Sounds kind of like Beach Boys or Beatles or something. Very, the for example the harmonies sound like kind of crappy, kind of like how Lennon might do high notes or something, kind of scratching his voice and stuff like that, which is what I did. Just fucking broke my voice on that one, but it sounds great. I like it. I don't know what else I have here. This was the first song. Oh, it was the first song I composed using my computer.
Oh, so
Yeah.
once you had the iPad for most of your music, and then you switched to computer. You got a computer and you were doing it on.
Yeah, you recommended me to switch, and I was hesitant. Because I was so accustomed to the way I worked that I didn't want to learn anything else.
Did you use on iPad? You used GarageBand?
I used GarageBand, and then on the computer I used GarageBand, even though I had Logic, but I used GarageBand because I didn't know how to use it. Huh?
When did you first use Logic?
Not on this record. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't use Logic on this record at all?
At all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It came up until the next album.
And then you never went back?
Never went back.
I wrote the Galloping Baseline is very funny.
Beautiful baseline.
Like
I have to when I play that song live, I have to teach the bassist that song, and I made like sheet music for it for the bass part, and it was kind of challenging sometimes because it didn't and also hard to read at first sight for sure, but the bassist I have and had liked playing that bass line. So
I think it's really strange. It's a strange feel to do that galloping thing.
It's good because it contrasts then the drums, which are very very simple. And I remember how Paul tried to sneak in a very complex and very crazy kind of rhythm there with an Indian feel, which the song has kind of like an Arabic feel or something.
Yeah.
But he wanted to add that kind of thing, and then we heard and we thought it was just too outfield, and we wanted a pop song out of that one.
So I told him the skills. Can you wake up?
He can a snare on the 1 and 2, and that's it. 1 2 1 2, and that's it.
It's really straightforward, but then that bass line fucks with it. There's a hilarious attempt at harmonies on the second verse that I thought was interesting. Also, I think I put Radiohead Bridge is so funny.
Radiohead, the Radiohead Bridge.
The Radiohead Bridge was it Happy New Year?
Happy New Year out of nowhere, just fucking. That's how I wrote, and that's how I wrote that lyric too, just by fucking improvising. Just doing nonsense, and that part particularly is just absolute nonsense. I don't even remember what I said. Most of it is you cannot even hear what I'm saying. You can only understand the Happy New Year part, which comes out of left field. Doesn't make sense.
I think the last thing I wrote was that I think we looped the final chorus on that song.
We did, yeah.
So it's literally just the final chorus and then the bridge, and then we loop the chorus again. And
we copy pasted the chorus, yeah.
We copy pasted it. I don't know why. The song didn't need to be that long.
That's what I thought, though. I thought it didn't need neither the bridge nor the last chorus, but I think you wanted it to be very pop or something, and you thought that pop meant to repeat things to oblivion. I think that's what.
So, and I think I wrote that it feels very repetitive. The song feels very repetitive, but that's the strength of the song, is that it's so repetitive and so catchy. And you know what? The thing is,
yeah,
when Different Love came out, like the only song that I ever heard anything about was Yonder Survive, basically.
Yeah. It is a favorite. It's true. Yeah, some people like that.
And I don't even like it.
You don't like it?
No.
I like it. I think it's good. Maybe because I started, but
you started?
I like that.
All right, that's Yonder Survive.
I like how it sounds.
Do you see when it says recording?
Yeah.
Okay. And pressure.
Pressure.
Action.
Great. So I remember this was the first song that we collaborated on, right?
Yes.
Am I tripping? Okay. So I think this was the most beautiful collaboration experience I've ever had. And this is sincere, because even though I'm looking at someone with sunglasses on right now, which seems very goofy on Skype, but it's a good. I loved it because it was like the first experience I had with collaboration that went great. Just in the first go. I remember you sent me the first verse, right? And I remember then just trying the first time I sit down to write a second part for this song, which is how we work. Sometimes we made one section and then send it to the other one, and the other one would make the next section of the song, and so on. Very AV kind of formula here. And so I loved it because I just sat down and came out with it in like 10 minutes. And it felt so good to just feel influenced and feel moved to create something so fast and easy and that I loved as well. I thought, which I think is the best thing about collaboration, is that someone else can bring out something good of yourself as well, right? And so something that you couldn't do on your own, really.
Right.
And so that's a good assistance, in creating things like that. And I love that. And I love the feel where we start with a country feel, and then I add that kind of bossa nova feel to the song. And so it's a very nice mix there, which is special, I think.
Yeah, I think it's another one of the more successful songs, and it was the first. I think it was the first Different Love song in a way. that we wrote for the song, like for the album.
Yeah.
Because the other songs that we co-opted that were already written before, because there are some of mine and there's some of yours that were written before.
Yeah.
This one is the first one that was like our song that we did together.
We created together.
That first. And so it's very special, and it honestly, I hear the melody and immediately it brings me back to that time when we were making the record. It brings me right back. And let's see. It's a nice feel. I wrote that it has a nice feel.
Man, how many feels do we have, man?
Feel is so important, dude. Feel is like the only thing in music, to be honest. Like really, you could have all your guitars could be out of tune. You could be singing out of tune. You could be screaming, whatever. You could be recording it on, a shitty piece of recording equipment, an iPhone that fell into the bottom of a lake, and went to space and was sent back and forth by like 300 people in like the most lowest grade like MP3 file. Like it doesn't matter if the feel isn't right or if the feel isn't good, and the song isn't going to be good, and that's the only thing that matters in music. Just feel.
It's how it feels.
I wrote. So I wish that we had done a video for Pressure.
True. Yeah, we did. Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
I think. Well, I was in a period of time artistically where I felt like it was better to. I don't know why. This is like some sort of like masochistic thing, but I was like, I need to make videos for the songs I don't really like that much, because that will.
Very weird.
That will make me like it, or that will make other people like them. But I was always like saving. I was doing a lot of like saving. So I was going, I'm saving this for later. I'm saving the Pressure. I'll make the Pressure video later. Or like with Trace, I'll make all the Trace videos later. Like, that's the problem. That was a problem that I had to get over, and I'm still sort of not over it yet. Where I make a great song and I go, this is the best song on the record. I'm not going to do a video for this. I'm going to do a video for one of the worst songs on the record.
Well, it's kind of like I think it ties back to how you might think about the public and your view of what the public means and what an audience might mean, to have an audience, what that might mean. Where it's a very passive aggressive, I think, way that you have of our relationship with that concept, even in itself, where it's like, well, surely no one will think this is the best song, and I will decide what song they think is the best, even if it's the crappiest one. They're gonna love it because I'm gonna market it well or whatever, instead of going like, yeah, I love this song and I'm gonna, why not try to force what you love instead of, saying, yeah, these people are below what I love. They will love something worse than what I love.
I think I don't know if it stems from that. I think it stems from like feeling like I could do better later. I can do better later. And I think that is if I was gonna like say to a young artist that was like starting out and they were like, I don't know how to make art, I don't know how to make something, I would say to them, you can do your best now, because you can, like, you might think you can do better later, you can make a better video later or a better album later. Later is gonna come up faster than you think, and you're not gonna have anything. You're not gonna have made anything.
So then that's worse than what I thought. Then, yeah.
It's worse.
It's actually worse.
Why is that
mindset?
How is that worse?
I think so, yeah, because the other stuff is more about what one thinks about other people. Okay, but then you could keep creating, but this mindset becomes very tied up with what you create, and I think that might be worse. Not give it your all in what you're doing at the moment, thinking that the next thing is going to be better. So not bothering to make it to make a video clip for a song that you love because you think the next one is going to be better. I think that makes it worse for yourself, even as an artist.
It's a very lazy way of being not lazy.
That's a good way to put it. I think so. Yeah.
I love what Emma did with the vocals. Why for the millionth time? Why for the millionth time? That's very nice.
Very country. Very good.
Very country. Funny cowboy vocals I wrote. I wish we did less unison singing on this song.
Well, we've done that in all of them. It's crazy.
I know. Well, I think it was because I think it was genuinely because we were excited to see what our voices sounded like together.
Yeah.
To see what they sounded like singing the same thing.
I was, more than that, I was excited that they melted together very well. And
yeah.
So that was pretty unique, I think.
I like the idea of singing a song with somebody from across the world. You know, I thought in the simplest, like as simple as that sounds nowadays or whatever, I thought it was cool to just be able to never even met this guy, and now our voices are like this close together and they're singing the same melody on this song that we wrote together, and how beautiful that is. That was it's a very simple concept, but I love that.
It's good, yeah. I like that too. I'm gonna switch the light on.
It's getting dark out there. It's deep, dark Madrid nights.
Yeah.
Spanish Civil War.
What?
Shelter.
Do you have that on your notes? What?
End chorus is amazing. The end chorus is just amazing.
Beautiful.
It's so joyful. I mean, it really is the most joyful thing on the record.
Yeah, man. Beautiful. That's a favorite of my family. My father loved that song, for example. And I think it's because of the joy the song brings. It's great.
End riff is funny. What was that? What do they mean by end riff is funny?
Did it end weirdly or with a weird?
Oh, the end of the song where it goes.
Yeah.
That's funny to me.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like cheesy or what?
It doesn't make sense. And then I think there's like a ding at the end, like a ding.
It's true. Dude, I heard recently the RAF demo of this song, of Pressure. It was a complete fucking mess. It was horrible to listen to. And I forgot completely about this, but hearing the demo, I remember how the first draft of the song was completely fucked up in pieces. I don't know what happened. I don't know how we did it. I remember. But the sections were like separated and then put together like blocks.
Well, I think that idea inspired the reprise, because what happens in the reprise is that
No.
No?
Mm-mm. I heard the version with your guitar in the first, and then there's, so it's like we tried to put the verse and chorus together, but recorded in different without the tempo thing, right? And then recorded them separately, and the feel was so off between the parts, it cut very abruptly to one part of the other, and then we fixed it, but it was fucked up. And then there's the reprise, but that's a different thing. Yeah, and it's also fucked up, but it's a different thing. I have to send the demo. It's awful.
Well, we'll move on.
Come on, man.
You gotta get some more light on your face.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how.
Do you have any lights, lamps, anything?
I'm gonna see what I got. Yeah, I have this one. It's gonna be even harder in here right now. Fucking hell. Oh. There you go. Oh,
much better. This is so fucked in the ass. I love it. Late in the day, speaking of getting fucked in the ass.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah, so what do I have on my notes? Let me see. Let me see what I have. Jesus, I hurt my eye. This one I have like very little stuff wrote down because I didn't like didn't like how it ended up. I think it's a mess.
I think this song could have been really good.
Yeah,
Very
maybe.
good song.
Every song or this one?
This one is very dark song.
Yeah.
I love the percussion and the drums on it. I remember that Paul played the chains. He played metal chains on this song.
Well, that's good. We have very interesting instrumentation on the album. Very weird. Fucking hell. Wait a sec. I have the light. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, it's great. That looks awesome.
Okay. I like the visual. I like the visual of the lyrics of this song. I think it's a very moody atmosphere. It projects an image to the listener. I think that's one of the strengths of the song, because the rest is very messy.
I think my favorite part on maybe the whole album happens in this song.
I remember that. Yeah, you told me that when we made my vocal in one part. I don't remember.
Yes. That. Oh, you remember this? Okay, because it popped in my head when I was listening again the other day. When you sing, "And I'll find my way." Yeah. When you sing that vocal, it's so pure and so real that it hits me immediately. It's exactly what I needed it's exactly what I wanted for the song and in general. And I just think that if all the record was just that vocal line from you, it would still be a great record.
I disagree, but I appreciate that you like it.
Why don't you like that as much as I do?
No. Well, I don't know. I don't feel it's that special. I think it's good, but I mean, I'm not.
Ecstatic Truth.
Do you think so?
And I'll find my way.
Well, it's true. I felt it. I remember I was singing with this was the second song I think we worked on, really. And I remember I made like two versions of it. First of one was I think it was your idea at the beginning, but I wanted to produce it or something on my iPad, which was a bad idea, I think. But
you might have saved it if you did it that way.
Huh?
If you had done it that way, it might have saved it. Who knows?
No, it's the way it was done. Forgot?
Did we record it on your iPad?
I made the basis on my iPad of the whole song, and then you added things on top of it. But it was the basis.
The
MIDI violin. It was just fucking crazy. MIDI strings, fucking horrible. But it was good with the when you added when Nelson added the horns, it made it more palatable or something. But no, I remember recording that vocal. That's true, and that's one of the only vocals that I remember really recording for this album. And I remember vividly. I was here in this room, and I was standing up in front of my bed, which I had my iPad sitting on my bed, and I was maybe I was. Yeah, I think I was kneeling down, and while kneeling down, I was singing to the iPad on my bed. I remember that vividly. Yeah.
What type of microphone were you using?
The iPad microphone for all of this album.
So you didn't have a microphone; it was just the one built into the iPad.
Yes.
I don't think I fully appreciate how archaic the technology that you were using at the time was.
Very, very archaic, yeah.
And then you really, because you changed a lot of your technology after this one, right? Because you thought, okay, this is going to turn into more records, not only for us together, but for you solo.
Definitely.
And then you decided to switch, and you did get a microphone and an audio interface, correct?
Yes, very slowly and the cheapest ones, and I got a USB microphone. Mm-hmm. That was the U1 or something. You remember that one?
Well, we
had the same one, right?
C1, Behringer C1, which
C1, the Behringer.
We then had for Illusions and Trace, but I used the Behringer C1 on Different Love as well.
Mm. Yeah, you told me to get that one, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe you got it because you thought it was a good one, or your dad got it or something. But you got this one, and then I was like, oh, that's the same mic I have. Because I don't think we talked about mics maybe at the beginning, or I didn't know that you were. I still didn't know that you were.
We didn't, of course, because you didn't know I didn't have a microphone. Yeah.
I didn't know that you recorded all the vocals on the iPad mic, but I think that's really cool. And honestly, someday in the future, you should make an album on the iPad again. That would be cool. See what you've learned and apply it.
Definitely.
As an exercise. Okay. Anything else about Late in the Day?
No.
Okay. Scratching a Balloon. Amazing song.
You think so?
I really do. I think it's a really cool song, and a song that really it like really cements, I think, a lot of what we were trying to do with this album. Like, in a way. Even though you wrote like most of the song, I really think although I will say the verses, because we worked together on those verses.
Yes.
Oh, my soul, it's a shame. I think it's just I think we were at the top of our game as far as that era, as far as writing on this song. Mm-hmm. This song, I always think of this song and Monsters of Infancy in the same breath for some reason, because I think they were written very similarly. Uh-huh. Where you had a lot of the chorus thought out, and like the chords really thought out, and they were really chordy songs. There's like a lot of chords.
Many.
But they are really interesting and complex and beautiful melodies. And then they both have verses that are very heavily influenced by my style of songwriting. And I think that gives it a real strength. And it's just uniquely, no one else could make a song like Scratching a Balloon or Monsters of Infancy, which I just have always associated those two. And that's probably why I did videos for those two.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, now that you say it, it's true, and it's funny because I think the verses, well, I guess the process of both songs were very similar, as you said, but also the verses that you added, I think, were very similar. And now I'm realizing that, like, the chords on both of those verses of those songs were very, very similar. I think they were the same chords. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I like what you said about the collaboration in that sense. I like that. For example, the lyrics that I made for the first sections were very influenced by, how I was just improvising and making things up, and also English was is my second language, and so I was just making things up that sounded, just mixing sounds and words that I just learned also. So it's very, very just surreal, kind of a very surreal feel with my lyrics. And then you add a very down to earth way of writing lyrics to both songs. I think it's like if you were trying to distill the meaning of the surreal lyrics. I think that was the process.
That's a really good way of looking at it, the distillation of understanding what you were saying in those surreal choruses for both songs.
Yeah.
It's like if you're talking about the Scratching a Balloon, like I'm saying like, oh my soul, it's a shame from the look of this blown up cowboy song, like what is this song? What does it mean? What is it about? It's about a blown up balloon head, you know, that is the guy who has a balloon head. And it's about self-doubt. I mean, that song is about self-doubt.
What? What?
Self-doubt.
It's what? It's what? I didn't hear.
Self-doubt.
Self-doubt. Yeah.
See.
Definitely. Yeah, and how that's I guess.
I have a lot of notes on this one. Great story.
Mm-hmm.
Love the verse and the chorus. Lots. Okay, so this song had a lot of nice details.
Mm.
I really love the passionate vocals on it. I could never fall in love. Oh, it's too much for me. So passionate. I love your dadas. I love your da 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 da. Those are so fucking great. That's like some of my favorite shit on the album. I like the sections. We left a lot of space in the song for like just breathing sections where you just hear the instrumental, which gives the song a nice open feel, so you don't feel like claustrophobic with all the lyrics. Like you get some chance to just enjoy the really cool bed with which we created and prepared for the vocals. Nice vocal performances. Love the horns. So nice. Oh, for the outro, the outro section, I was screaming into my guitar, into the pickups of my guitar, and I had it cranked at full volume, and I was screaming into it, and that's where the
It's true. It's true.
That's where that comes from.
Oh shit! Yeah, I think I didn't realize that was your voice. Yeah.
I want to talk about the guitar that I used on the record because I used guitar that was, as far as what I can track, because there was a time period where I was buying all my guitars at a place in Milwaukee called Music Go Round, which is like a secondhand guitar store, and the people at Music Go Round, they're lovely. I still check out. I follow their page and like they post great videos, and they have nicer guitars now than I remember when I was going there. They've always had pretty nice guitars though, but like I would always go there before I made a record. This is a thing I did before I got a nice guitar. I would go to Music Go Round and I would buy a guitar for like $40, which at the time I can't really think of any other place besides eBay or Craigslist or like some online website where you could get a guitar for that cheap, for like an electric guitar. But I didn't realize, it never occurred to me that if you bought a guitar for $40, it was going to sound like $40 worth of guitar. So it was going to be a piece of shit. And the guitar that I used in this period of time was a pink guitar that I think it said Nova on the headstock. And I'm pretty sure from what I did my research that it was a guitar that you would win in a carnival, like in a festival, if you like threw a ball into like, you know, into a hole, or like knocked over like a bottle, you know, like with a ball, and you want, instead of like you could win a giant teddy bear, or you could win a guitar, and like I think it was a prize from like a carnival is what it was, and it was pink. It was like a light pink guitar, and I played that guitar on the first two records on Different Love and Illusions. That was the electric guitar for both of those albums.
Yeah. I think it sounds great. I don't know. I think it sounds very, very lively. I think. Well, I guess I also see that sound as your sound as well, in a way. I think that rough, cheap guitar sound. I like how you use that sound, I guess, in some of your records and earlier records of yours as well.
Yeah. Once I decided to get a nice professional guitar, it became less about the actual sound of the guitar and more about what the guitar was doing. Like what types of sounds like the guitar was like what kind of notes the guitar was playing. It became more about that rather than actual tactile, like nature, like the texture of the guitar sound.
Yeah.
Be interesting to work on shitty instruments like that in the future. Do you have anything else about scratching a balloon?
Yeah, I have. So I'm saying, oh yeah. Well, I don't know if this is useful at all for the doc, but I you remember how Mac DeMarco heard the album? You told me
Yes.
about how he heard the album.
That's something that Nelson and I were going to talk about in his interviews, probably.
Oh yeah.
But what were you going to say about it?
That I thought that Mac DeMarco had to be influenced by the line, the cowboy, a blown out cowboy song in this one, well, the line that you say, because he had the concept of that line of a blown out cowboy song is very similar to the sound of that song that he made, the cowboy whatever. You know that song?
Cowboy?
Yeah. Yeah, it made it so, and also knowing that he heard the album, I thought maybe unconsciously he was influenced by it.
Well, something to consider is that we don't know if he ever heard the album. So Nelson gave the album to him. I remember I had burned him a copy specifically for Mac DeMarco. And it said Different Love, and I wrote on, copy CD, and then I put it in a case, and I handed it to Nelson and said, give this to Mac DeMarco. I think it had like a heart on it or something. And he gave it to him one time, but I don't know if he ever heard it. He might have listened to it.
Was that at Primavera Sound? Because that, I met your brother before you, actually.
Yes.
In Barcelona. And I went to see Mac DeMarco live, actually. Primavera Sound. And I remember that your brother met Mac DeMarco backstage after the concert because he was playing with Justin Vernon.
Yeah. And I don't know specifically if did you meet Mac then? Did you meet him that day?
I've never met Mac. No, I only saw him on stage. Yeah.
But you know about when I met him, right?
I think I've heard. Yeah.
Because I met him in LA at the Harumi Hasano show because he was playing a number with Harumi Hasano, and I was before the show, and I got into the venue and I was at the bar. I was getting a drink, and I saw his girlfriend, Kira, and then I was like, oh, he's got to be somewhere around here. And I turn around, and there he was looking at me, and I was like, oh, okay. It seemed like he recognized me, which is evidence to me that there's a possibility that he did hear the album. Because the thing is, and we always talked about this for years, that if he heard the album and had no reaction to it, that would be like impossible. Anybody that put that album into there, you would have to go, okay, who are these guys? Bless you. Salud.
Sorry. Yeah.
You would have to go, holy shit. Who are these people? You'd have to have a reaction, and you'd try to find out. So if he did hear it and he did recognize me, then there's a chance that he, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know.
So you think that he hated it, right?
I think that he hated it.
Right? Because that's from the logic you're setting out, that's kind of like the logical conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know why we gave it to him.
Yeah.
I don't know why we gave it to anybody. It's not for them. It's for us. Fuck them.
Okay.
Scratch
It's not recorded.
It will be soon.
So you hate this song, right? Turning 2?
Turning 2 is the worst song on the album. And I don't know why we didn't leave it off. I think we didn't take it off because then we would have only had 19 songs.
Well, that's what I have here in my notes is this was the song Max hated. And he always had a song of his that he would call the worst song of the album in all of the 3 albums or 5 albums we made. And he could ask me to reiterate that it was his also, that it was your song that was the worst in the album for some reason. And I also wrote, it's a very weird backwards ego trip. It's like the reverse of it or something. And I like this song. I think it is unique on the album. Also, yeah, I'm saying how you could bash your own songs on all the albums. You could say you hate them all, and
It was. I promise you that I hate this song not to make you say it's good. You know how when somebody's like, "I'm so ugly," because they want somebody to say, "No, you're so beautiful."
no, I know that. I know that though.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, I literally think it's the worst song. I truly, in my deepest heart, think it's the worst song on the album.
Yeah, but no, I understand. I mean, I'm not saying it's dishonest that you think that, but it's.
I'm trying to like engineer any sort of like reaction, though, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I know that. I know it's honest. What I mean is that it's very, it became something very prominent. All of the albums have had that. So I think that there might be something about. I know it's honest, but there's something about it being repeated over time, all of them, without exception. How you bash, you have a way of hating on your own songs, like every time.
Well, yeah, it's natural because you're the one that could have done something about it. I could have done something about it, but I didn't. I watched it happen. I let this happen.
It's not that bad. I think it's good, but what else do I have to say? Where is it? Oh yeah, you when we talked about this also. Well, I call you on that as well many times before. How you and you said it was kind of like your method to make new stuff, like in a way saying that you could never be content with what you put out because that could mean like that's a hard stop. That could mean that you cannot keep building onto what you've created, because if you are content with it, you cannot go on farther. But I think, I think that's there's some I've always found something weird with that, because what does it really mean? You know, I mean, you cannot, because I know that you like some of your songs that you've made. I know that, and you've mentioned it, but then you've always, in each of the releases, when it didn't go well, when it didn't receive any, applause or recognition by anybody, that's when you get to start hating on the album yourself, which is very interesting.
Oh.
Right? And so you could hate all the album completely. You could just say the whole album is awful and trash, and you could contradict what you said before, where some of the songs you like. But and you said that's a way of going forward. But I don't think that makes sense, because it's a very, how does it work? It feels more of a I don't know, of a cerebral kind of system or something. It doesn't.
It's very adolescent to believe that, to think that way, because like now I'm obviously trying to like do more positive self-talk and like trying to like be like, you know what, it wasn't well received. That's not anything I had control over, but I still like it. It's still good. I am beautiful. I am wonderful. I
don't think that's better though. I prefer the older Max. Come on, get me the older Max.
I'm trying to show you that you can believe both things at once and in different times. So like a younger version of me could be very critical and go, you know what? Yep, people didn't like it because it was shit, and then you move on. But now I'm gonna go, people didn't like it because people didn't like it, but I sort of like it, and I'm gonna move on. See, both you can believe both.
The tone you have right now is beautiful. It's so fun. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for coming to therapy with me, and bye-bye.
I wrote that the falsetto is false.
You think it's false, the falsetto?
The falsetto is false.
Was it imitating someone or something, or what?
No, it just feels false. I thought the sax solo is really cool in it, and with the little effect. It's like whatever it goes.
It's good.
Final chorus, I think, sounds demonic on Turning 2. Terrible time in this one.
Oh, yeah.
And it gives me kind of Trace vibes, kind of.
Really? I don't see why, really.
Well, we'll get to that because when you listen to Trace again, because I listened to it not that long ago, and I'll listen to it again and make notes, but something happened with the music in Trace where like.
Man, I agree though, but I agree on the production side, and we've talked about this. I think that the song should have been good, and I have the proof of it. Also, I have the proof because I have some of the demos before you heard the Tyler the Creator album, where the production is kind of like very high and low, a lot of highs and lows, and no middle like frequencies. And when you hear that album, you said, "That's very cool. I'm gonna make this album sound the shittiest I can possibly make it." And that's when it went badly. But I think some of the songs on the demos sound good, sound clean, sound natural. And then on the record, they sound they bash your ears.
Something happened with those. Man, that album sounds fucked up. But I do like the instrumental. If we're talking about Trace really quick, I think the instrumental versions of that album are actually really cool.
They redeem the album.
Honestly, I would take the instrumental Trace over the actual Trace.
Me too, but it's mainly because of the S and T frequencies that make it impossible to listen to. It's like having a clock alarm going off every 2 seconds. You're listening to a song.
It's so bad. All right, we're gonna move on to the next song. I'm gonna stop this one. I'm gonna do some sunglasses time.
Sunglasses. I want to do. Wait, I have another cap somewhere. The pizza cap.
It's recording.
Recording? Oh, I forgot. On the other song, what song was it? The Pain in General. I was gonna make a video clip of the song, and I was gonna use Muppets that don't show up.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
I was gonna do a video clip with Muppets. And I was gonna.
Did you make that puppet?
No, that was my grandma, which she makes like teddy bears and stuff. Well, she made back then.
That thing is wonderful. I think you should use that for something someday.
I want to use it, and this is the best one though. I showed you this is the best one of the two that she made.
Oh yeah. Here, go down underneath the desk. Let me just see just the Muppet. So it's just me and the Muppet.
Okay, let me see. It's gonna be hard because the green screen doesn't, well, let's try. As a human being.
Oh yeah, it registers. Look at that. So we're gonna talk about the deep end now.
Yes.
That's the only song that was written by someone else other than us two.
Yes.
Which is Nelson.
Nelson.
It looks like you're being destroyed by this. You're being like erased by the world, by the universe. How do we get anything done? I don't. All right.
I caught one. Okay. So what was it?
The Deep End was the only song that wasn't written by either of us.
Yes. Correct.
And it was written by Nelson. So The Deep End was written by Nelson for his album For his album Bad Water.
Yeah.
And Different Water. And he was going to do it for that album, and I remember he played me a demo of it, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I think I got the demo. I asked him to send it to me so I could listen to it again. And then did I send it to you? And then I had you figure out the chords for it? Or did he tell us the chords?
Yes, because you didn't, and that's always the case. Like you don't wanna you don't wanna try to figure out anything.
No,
That's
I
funny.
don't. You're not wrong, and actually that's been the case with every collaboration I've ever done.
Yeah, but it's good though. It's good.
I just want to keep going, and I don't want to sit there and try to figure out what the chords are. Are you kidding me?
You just give the hard work to other people. That's good.
Yeah, basically.
Delegating work. That's good.
It's called delegating. It's called delegating. You'll figure it out.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So I thought. Yeah. So that he recorded it, and then we played it for him, right? And then that was a surprise because he didn't know we were going to do it on the record.
It's true. It was a surprise. I remember I made I started making the demo, and I was trying to sing the melody, and for whatever reason there were like I wasn't noticing like some rhythm details or whatever in the melody that were very important, and I didn't think they were important. I thought it was just so. And so you told me that it was bad, and then I tried to record it again, and you said it was still bad, that I didn't find the rhythm. I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't singing it right.
Phrasing.
So what we did,
The phrasing.
The phrasing, that's right. And so what we did was I recorded like one phrase, and then you did the other phrase. That sound on the thing. And then we did two phrases each, or one phrase each. I mean.
That's how that happened, because I was curious why it was like da da.
Yeah, that's right.
And it goes ba da ba dee day.
Which, yeah, I don't know if it was the best decision, but
it's one of the only songs we do that on, though, where we trade off on the same verse.
It's true. Yeah.
And I think it is interesting. And the dance party at the end.
Oh, great.
Terrible. Awful. He really didn't like that part too. Hearing that, he was like, "Why are you doing this?"
I remember that. Yeah, he hated that.
It's not great. Although I will say, when I re-listened to the album and I listened to the song, I was like bopping my head. I was like,
"It's cool, man."
So that's kind of cool. Anything else for the deep end? Porpoise.
Porpoise?
Yeah. So instead of saying purposely, you said porpoisely.
What does that mean?
Like a dolphin. So we should put a dolphin or some sort of
picture of a dolphin.
Some sort of thing here, up here. I don't know how to do. I wouldn't even know how to do that on a computer. Okay, is that enough for the deep end? Is that enough?
Huh?
Is that enough for the deep end?
No. With the rhythm alternate. I was going to say that so one of the reasons I wasn't really accurate with the rhythm was that I was very lazy, and so I didn't even listen to the whole song, and I started making the cover. So when I was figuring out the chords, and I was just recording them at the exact moment I just found out what chord they were, just like that. And each phrase I did the same way, just a fucking crazy. And I like the song, but I was lazy. I don't know what.
It's raw. I like it. Okay, moving on.
I like the bass on the disco part though. It's good. I hope it works.
So the next song is "But She Ain't Mine." But she ain't mine. But she ain't mine. But she ain't mine.
What?
This was a song from How to Show Love, which is a record I did in 2015.
Hmm.
And I have no idea. I think it's filler. I think it's just filler. We wanted another song to do.
Well, I think that the idea was that, there were a bunch of songs that I made previous that you produced and made better by producing them. And so I wanted to make like a cover of one of your songs, and it was filler though. Yeah, it's true because we didn't have we wanted to have 20 songs, and so and we saw that we didn't have that many yet, and so we needed to find new songs from anywhere we could find them. But I really liked your album, and so I wanted and I did choose a song that was kind of like I didn't want to choose. That's funny. I didn't want to choose the best song of them all, which I really like.
Which one was the best song from that one?
Which one?
In your opinion, for How to Show Love, or you're saying best of all my songs or best of How to Show Love?
All songs though, because I chose from all the songs really.
Yeah.
Also, and one of my favorites you don't like it, so.
Which is?
Personally, the what's the full name?
Taking It Personally.
Taking It Personally. Mm-hmm. I really like that one. You didn't like it, right?
Not crazy about it, but maybe it's okay.
I like that one, and well, and How to Show Love. I love How to Show Love, and what's that one where there's a phone call?
Oh, Stay on the Phone.
Yeah, I like that one too. There's really good songs there, but yeah, I really like this one too. But I think I messed it up on the cover. I think it's very messy and weird. I made it very very different because I was thinking, okay, I want to make a cover. I've never made a cover of anything. I wanna do a special cover. I don't wanna be true to the original because then what's the point of making a cover? That was my mode of thinking, right? And so I made it really weird and tried to make it the farthest from the original. It ended up being absolutely awful and weird. I think this is the worst track on the album, actually.
This one?
And, yeah, because I could always skip it when I listen. I would always skip this one. And even on this last listen, I skipped through the song. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
I skipped through Turning 2 and I skipped through But She Ain't Mine for sure.
Yeah. And now I think it's also, well, I wrote that now I think it's cool sounding though. Interesting.
Wait, so when you heard it again for this documentary, you think that it sounds good?
Well, that's what I wrote.
Or it sounds more interesting now?
I guess I was really judging myself from not making it good at the time, so I couldn't even listen to a second of it. And now I listen and I'm like, okay, there's some interesting.
There are interesting things. I wrote Wild Feel.
Wild.
Wild. It is a really strange sounding song. I also wrote that it makes me sick.
Yeah. It does.
I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I love the voicemail, the German voicemail that Suzanne did. I think it's really, really weird and unique and just super interesting callback to the How to Show Love record and what was going on with me at that time. Mm-hmm. And to have her voice on that song, I think is really cool.
That also reminds me of how I was very I really liked that we were collabing, but I was also very nervous about releasing all these songs that at the time were the songs that I thought were the best I've ever made with anyone or by myself, really. The best things I've ever made. And so I was very nervous of just I wanted to have something in the back before the album, and so I made an album, a solo album, right before this album, where I had a bunch of some of them are okay, are good. And I remember you helped me with the cover, huh?
Are you talking Juicy Costumes?
Oh yeah, it was Juicy Costumes, yeah. So and then it's true. I thought it was
your next one until after Juicy Costumes, which was after Different Love came out.
It's true, yeah. Yeah, I made just a very silly compilation there. Yeah. To have some of the songs represented, I guess. But
I like Juicy Costumes. I like. Is it When My Mama Died on that one?
no, that's Crank Kisses. See, that's
Crank
why.
Kisses?
Yeah. Crank Kisses is really the first album I made. The other one is just
more of a compilation.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. And then also, well, the reason this song is kind of ugly as well is because I made it with the same approach of the last one, the deep and what is it?
Deep End.
Deep End. It's funny how I forget it. It sounds condescending when I forget things, man. I have there's something about, like, music wise, I have a very bad memory. Horrible. I cannot remember a melody. I cannot. If you ask me to sing any of the songs from this album, I cannot do it. Any of them.
Wow. What else? What else are you thinking about?
I have many things. I guess, yeah, but I have no like recollection of melodies and stuff like that. Even popular songs and stuff. Like I'm not one to sing just a song randomly, because it comes to me. It's very rarely that happens. I think that's because naturally I'm not really. I don't think I was musically like gifted, really. As like genetically. I don't know if that is even true to anyone though.
I don't think I was.
Yeah. So I just chose one thing because I was just I have a creative impulse, and so I chose this and other things too. But
yeah, could have been anything.
Could have been anything. I'm not a musician. I don't like to call myself a musician. I hate that because I'm not. I'm refining the technique the more I do it, but I don't feel like I'm a musician. I don't like that.
You're interested in other forms of art making.
Exactly, and all of them mostly equally. Really, I'm not really more fond of music than other forms of art. I don't think any other form of art is higher or lower or whatever. But
go.
Yeah, I think it's not. Man, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, that I forget things like that. Incredible.
The meat.
Yeah, the meat of the documentary.
Yeah.
You like this effect, man?
Yeah, that's cool actually. I like that.
The flare, like flare. Yeah.
That's good.
Nice.
Okay. Stripping off.
Stripping off.
So with stripping off,
this documentary you're watching right now.
What'd you say?
The intro of the documentary we're making right now.
Yeah, it is. It's the first song I ever heard of yours, and I think I was immediately taken with it. I was like, holy shit, what is this? This is so cool. This is so great. Who's this guy?
Fuck.
Let me check this guy out. Let me fuck this guy.
That's the next question and thing I want to talk about. How people thought we were gay.
Well.
And have a relationship together. Which, who knows that?
We'll never tell. And actually, that's a big selling point of the record.
Yeah, that's our market.
I literally wrote in here, stripping off, sexy song.
It is. Came out of I guess sexiness I wanted to release to the world.
I love that. I felt that when I heard it for the first time. Twin Peaks inspiration.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see Twin Peaks, but
I was like, you know what? This gives me a Twin Peaks vibe, which I always thought was a very sexy show.
Mm-hmm.
Shintaro Sakamoto vibe, because we used the high-pitched vocals, and at the time he was doing a lot of that in his music. He still does, actually.
Oh, it's true, yeah.
I love this song, very, very Adrian. It's a very you song.
It was one of the first songs I made that I think was good.
Best final chorus on album.
Best final chorus. I don't remember. What was it?
Oh, you cannot see well then. Tell me, but I don't fucking care. People make me mad. People make me. I don't get all the better people. All the better than myself.
It's funny. Some of these, well, basically covers or productions of these songs that you made afterward, you correct a lot of my English, but you keep also my fucked up English in the songs. So
it's really strange. It's a 50-50, and that's actually something good we could talk about here, because about 50% of the time, because you were very, well, you're not very new. I mean, you've been speaking English for most of your life, right?
Well, I wasn't very good, and I was just learning more English right now. I mean, I had like not many good grades in English actually in school, and I didn't pay attention at all until I became interested in cultural things, right? And so that's when I started listening to English shows or English movies and stuff like that. But before that, I was just making things up, really.
Yeah. But I would hear your fucked up English on certain songs, and then I would go, like, well, this is art. This is so crazy. Like your pronunciation would be so jacked, and I was just like, I would leave that, but like I would fix something grammar wise, or vice versa. Like I would fix your pronunciation and change and leave the grammar, the fucked up grammar.
Yeah.
And I think that's just to make it more weird, more idiosyncratic. And I think this song is no exception of that. That.
Yeah, I remember you said that you thought it had a poetic element to it, like not like an unconscious one, or not meaning to do it, but ended up being that way.
Well, it's important to talk about our surrealist influences as well, because I mean, one of the main things that this style of collaboration recalls is Exquisite Corpse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
You want to talk about that, or do you want me to? Do you want?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's somewhat interesting.
It's not that interesting. Don't pretend it's that interesting. It's just, you know what, like the whole kind of, I'm gonna make, and then you, and then whatever. Everyone knows. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe not everyone, but yeah, it is an influence from that era, so that's good.
Okay.
Makes it sound more artsy and cool.
Well, then you say the word. Say the words.
What? The corpse? Exquisite corpse? An exquisite corpse. Fine art.
So menacing and powerful. Very experimental. The end with the screaming and the bass clarinet solo, I think it just so...
That's true, yeah.
I like that. I actually really like that. I think this song holds up pretty fucking well.
I love how dark it is. It feels absolutely like if you were in a sex dungeon or something.
It's a bad place to be, and I love it. I really do. I still like it to this day. I think I would play this song for somebody and go like, this is like the record I made with this guy from Spain. This is shit. And I also really like that it was a song. So this is another one of those where you were saying I was feeling self-conscious a little bit because like I didn't want to like. Or maybe like a little scared because you didn't want to give your best songs to this project because you had never done that before. But this is like one of your best songs from that era. And not only did you give it to the project, but you let me sing the whole vocal on it, basically. And then, like we all both added elements to make it, this grand work of, kind of has a Russian feel that when Nelson plays his counter melodies on the very end chorus, it's got kind of a Russian, like Tchaikovsky, Shostakovich, Stravinsky vibe. It's very nice style at the end there.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Yep.
Oh shit. I mean, invariably, this was going to be the longest set of interviews that we were going to do with each other because,
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so for Still Stuck on a Train,
Mm-hmm.
I played the congas on this one.
Sure, I remember perfectly. It sounds so bad. I don't know how did you make it sound so bad, dude?
I don't know. I loved making this song. I will say that
it sounds kind of like an internet.
No, I just played them.
You played them?
Anyway, I really love this song, and I really love the making this song was so much fun, and it felt like a release because it was like, we're going to take this song that we already did, that's a very beautiful song and cool song, and we're going to make a Brazilian vibe.
Yeah, we were into Brazilian vibes. We were into Loborges and Milton Nascimento.
This is the best time to talk about that because it's an influence that found its way throughout the 3 records. Yeah. The Brazilian influence, and specifically on this record, the influence of Clube de Esquina.
Very good pronunciation there, I think. I don't know.
Neither of us speak Portuguese, but I will tell you.
No, I think it sounds good.
Well, there you go. I think we were really into that record. It really influenced the making of Different Love. It gave us a kind of a template of what 2 great artists can make when they collaborate together.
Definitely.
The album cover itself was an influence because you have basically them as, representational images of them, of Borges and Nascimento as children on the sleeve.
Yeah.
Which we'll put up right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then left-right kind of concept, like next to each other, and we kind of use that for every album cover.
Yes. Which is it's incredibly interesting to do. Just thought.
I thought that the final train, when we go, sounds like a train whistle.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think when we first did it, Becoming a Ghost. Well, having fun here. That's very interesting.
What do you have to say about the album or that song?
Well, I think that nothing really. I mean, we talked about this already. Well, I have one thing. With my band, when I had a band, and now that I'm forming a new band together to play songs, this is a favorite song because it's the only one that I have in my repertoire that has only 6 chords in it. So it's very easy to learn and very easy to play.
That's so interesting. I have challenged you time and time again to just write an album where you use like 3 to 4 chords on each song.
It's true.
I still want to hear that someday. I think if we're just kind of, I'm just gonna just do that sometime. I think it'd be really cool to hear your like very restrained chord album.
Mm. Like that. When I say swear words.
I like swear words. I have a very so my sense of humor is very juvenile, and I like potty mouth and swear words are very good and funny. Unintelligible things.
Good to know. I didn't ask. Good to know. Ass.
Oh, very good. Unintelligible things.
I'm tired, dude. Fuck this. No.
Do this. We can stop.
We're gonna do this, dude. We're gonna do this.
Look like the Pope.
Falling off the chair. Very good.
Unintelligible
things. For the documentary, we're having fun.
You're not having fun. Unintelligible things. One of the first Adrian songs that you sent me.
One of the first ones, do you think?
Yeah. You look like you're...
I disagree with everything you say now.
You're a candle that's melting.
That's a good roast. It's good.
One of the first ones that you sent, because I remember you sent it over. You sent a little folder, a little zip maybe or something of like 5 ideas, and I think they all just became songs, which I think is great.
Yeah, man.
'Cause
Yeah,
I was loving everything.
One song. We were gonna make one song only, or 2.
We talked about making one song, but then I think it came to that point where I was like, this is all fucking great. We need to just capitalize on this.
All.
Let's make it all. And then
it's a lot. Yeah. We made so much money off of this album.
And I mean,
that's the budget for this documentary. You can see it in the quality. We're gonna cry or what?
Very, very strange English on this one.
Yes, this is the one I was talking about. How a lot of the rough English was kept in. He kept it in. I'm talking gibberish right now, as in the song, just to make it closer to the album, just to make it more focused on what we're talking about. I'm talking badly. You have some kind of Asperger's.
Just constantly moving. Very emotional. You don't have any notes for this song?
Very emotional. That's the fucking thing. Fucking hell. That's awful, dude. That's awful. Okay, I'm gonna read. I have a whole paragraph I don't remember. This is another version Max did of a song of mine, using his approach of repeating the same set of chords over and over. Having an A section and variations on the theme. It works great. It works great for this one. I was struggling with this composition because I wanted a B section to go with it, and I could not fit it in. So this Max approach saved the song from my GarageBand iPad folders. And then I thought deep in my heart our collaboration could make us well known. But no one cared, and that's why, as Brazilian artists, we are making this documentary. The 5th year anniversary. I don't know why I wrote that there.
Wow, that sounds like a different person wrote that. Like somebody who had like actually taking it seriously. That's so sweet. That's like so beautifully written and just sweet. I love that.
Thank you, man. Now I'm just talking about ass.
Okay, I think we got enough for. Well, I will say I like the whole concept of the song story of getting stuck in the cement, because it was a grammar issue that made it so that I was like, oh, it sounds like you're getting stuck in the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's this exquisite corpse kind of effect there.
You use the word, exquisite corpse effect, because you use the word in. I think I step into the sidewalk when I was like, you don't step into the sidewalk, you step onto the sidewalk. But I was like, fuck it. He stepped into the sidewalk. Oh no, he just stepped in wet cement. Unintelligible things.
It's beautiful.
Heading to the next. Oh, you want to add something?
Yeah, that's beautiful, because it's making sense of what I did, and you hear the first verse when I'm singing that, and you're like, oh, this is another one where he sings fucked up English. Oh, this is another one where he doesn't know how to speak, right? But then it all makes sense.
Hell yeah, dude! Fuck yeah! Monsters of Infancy. Amazing song I wrote.
Huh?
Monsters of Infancy.
What did you say?
Amazing song that I wrote.
You want to have some beef, right?
Amazing song that is what I wrote in my book. But yes, it was started as an it down idea, which is just so beautiful. I'm not sure why I like it so much, is what I wrote. I said it still sounds weird, and I also wrote that it's a loud ruckus. What do you have?
Why do you have a problem with loudness so much? I don't understand.
It sounds like a ruckus. It sounds like a bunch of kids with a bunch of pots and pans.
Well, yeah, I mean the whole album, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to read what I had again.
Very good.
I remember when I saw this song played live by Nelson's band with Max. It was beautiful.
We'll put a clip there.
Yes. A shame we didn't play our songs ever together. I played some with my band in Madrid and Max separately in the Midwest. I like to pause like that. I like the lyrics on this one. The monster friend concept I took unconsciously. I know now. This doesn't make sense, but as I am getting tired talking about the songs, I was getting tired listening and writing what I thought about the song. So now it's gonna be just all gibberish.
It's funny you say that because when I was listening and writing about them, I just didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, I don't fucking want to finish this long album.
Yeah. Felt the same way, man. Fuck. Well, it's work, and that's a good point. I think. I believe that when one is making art, the most important thing is not to have fun, because making art it's an awful process, and it's very hard, wrenching. It's mostly hard work.
You're sweating so much. You're sweating so much and talking about hard work and how art is not fun. On your face. Oh shit. No, you're right. Sorry. Say that again, because then we can cut that and put it in.
Okay. So what, the work part?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe that art is not all about fun, having fun. It's actually maybe nothing about fun, because I believe that the most important thing is it's not the process, it's actually how it ends up sounding. So it's the result of what you do. Stop laughing, you fuck.
I'm sorry. I'll just be here. You say more.
Okay. So I'm talking to the meadow. So art is just fucking hard to make sometimes, and I think that's when it's the best in its best form, actually. And it's not. I hate when people think, or when people want to be like artists, or they want to form a band because they want to have fun and they want to meet people and they want to stuff like that, because I feel like that's just a distraction from making the art itself, actually. And so I cannot despise that kind of mentality. I don't think the best things in life have fun involved, actually. I think the best things in life involve suffering for the most part.
Well said. And it can be very lonesome too.
What?
Like you're all alone.
And I'm alone.
No, you're not.
I'm still alone.
Okay,
Wait.
Pressure reprise. So we're back to Pressure, but it's a reprise.
That's all I had on my notes.
I just put nice instrumental. I love the part where we go, hey!
Oh, yeah.
The offbeat clapping is funny.
Oh, my God.
Playing the verse and the chorus at the same time, and then having Nelson solo over it, I think was a really cool part of the album.
Well, I think it's trash. It sounded very trash until... So this is what I wrote. It sounds very trash until the drums and horns were added. It still sounds very trash, though, but that's okay. So I think that's my evolution. It's I think it's okay if it sounds a little trash.
Pressure reprise.
Okay, so we're close to the end of the album, and I wanna say something. Is that this documentary could make more sense if it involved the process of making a new record at the same time. Why? Because well, I was doing the first interview for the documentary with a friend of mine, guitarist of my band, and he said that he would liked it much more if we showed how Different Love was made instead of talking about how it was made, right? You know what I mean? And so I think that although we have some clips from when we were making the albums, right? Although there are a few, we could be making a new album at the same time.
I like the idea of like the narrative is that you want to make a new album, and I just don't during it. And every time you mention it, I'm just like,
yes, yeah, that's good.
My newest sheep costume.
So, okay, so this is what I wrote. The main drama of the first two albums for me was that Max wanted to release them on Spotify, and then he didn't know how to feature me on the albums. So I felt like if I shared our work, it could be just attributed to him. And being there, what I deemed my first good songs, I was worried they could get notoriety. How do you say that?
Which one?
Notority.
Notoriety.
Notoriety. That's right. So I was afraid they could get notoriety, but I could. Yeah, it was a dumb presumption that they could get, anyone could care about them, but because no one cared. But yeah, that was I think the main drama I had for the first two albums, and but now I'm good with it. But it's true that I guess I thought, well, I've been always like anxious about not being able to for whatever reason, every song I make, I'm like, is this gonna be the last one?
I remember you talking about that, or the sort of the theory like the well had run dry, and like the forgetting that you could write, like how to write a song, like forgetting.
You're cutting out.
Running out, yeah.
You're cutting out. I don't hear you.
Nothing?
I don't hear you at all.
Let me stop the clip.
Do I change it?
Nope, didn't change yet.
I mean, do I even do it or what? What?
It's fine. Okay, so
I think it's good because it's this is the age I had when I made the first album with you.
We're talking about an earlier version of you. So something I remember you telling me early on was that you were afraid of like forgetting how to write a song or like running out of ideas.
Yes. And I think that's dumb. That's very dumb because it has never happened to me. I've never been dry of ideas. Yet I don't know why I thought that it might, like I thought that my best things could be behind me, and I was afraid of that for whatever reason. I don't really know.
Well, it's normal to have that drive, but I think, do you still feel that way? Were you worried that you're gonna forget how to make music?
So it's not, well, that's what I was going to say as well, that I think that happens because every time that I make music, I don't do it with any formula, right? So I just make whatever comes to me. And so it feels like it's just at the mercy of what I feel, in that moment, right? I don't have any formula. Okay, so I'm going to make a song. I'm going to do these chords and then I'm going to do whatever, Like I don't have like a way of making songs, and so it feels just like maybe one day I won't be needing to. But what I feel right now is that maybe one day I won't be needing to make songs, and I think that's all right.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
It'd be great to not have to worry about making music.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Well, that's something I my sister's in the background talking, but I think that's something I see and I don't admire it, but I see it as a good trait to not be focused on things that are I guess more of a tactile thing, you know. And I think, and I don't understand why everyone has to make art, right? Like it's not. First of all, that's what I was saying before, right? About the having fun thing. It's not why like if why don't you do something else? You know what I mean? It's us. Like I guess. Well, some people just do it to have fun, and other people just need to do it. So you know, and needing to do it. What?
Where do you fall on that?
Well, I guess I do have fun though afterward, but sometimes, but I do need need to do it for whatever reason. It's kind of like I feel like a slave to the creative process, and so I dislike this whole new modern idea of, you know, you gotta be creative, you know, and everyone has to be creative. You have to let your inner self out and blah blah blah. You know, it's like, why the fuck? Let it in. You know, if you can let it in, don't ever let it slip out. You're lucky. I think so deeply.
As a whole, let's talk about Different Love. As a whole, as a record.
Yes. So, do you have notes about that? I have general thoughts too.
I don't have general thoughts. I was just going to go off the cuff, but I want to hear yours first.
Okay. So, general thoughts. At one point, our strategy. Oh my God, my pronunciation is whack. How do you say?
Strategy.
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 Strategy. Strategy. Strategy. Oh my God. So, well, at one point, we wanted to make it seem as if we were in a relationship. We thought it was a good selling point, and I still do. People nowadays, people nowadays can't be redeemed. What the fuck am I in? Okay, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but people nowadays can't be recommended anything to, because they are bombarded by recommendations in all types of forms, like in ads, for example, all of the time. So if one gathers the courage to recommend something to someone, it will be faced most likely with rejection or even outrage. Neither listening to all nor listening to none is helpful. Those are my thoughts. Meaning, having be influenced by everything and everyone might not be the most helpful in your life, right? But it's not helpful either to try to not listen to anything, because I think nowadays everyone is, as I said, bombarded by recommendations of every type, right? And so most people might want to just tune out, right? And I see myself doing that a lot. For example, in the subway, right, in Madrid, which we have a pretty good subway, but I don't want to be in the subway. So what I did before, which I don't do much now, but what I did before was I listened to music on the subway, right? Because I didn't want to be there. So I didn't want to. I wanted to be blind. I didn't want to have anything come at me, right? I wanted to be in my own world, and I think that's something that happens when you're just fucking fucked in the ass with ads all the time, and with people recommending you shit, and with so many things that you can check out and be influenced by, right? You just wanna sometimes I think people react in the opposite way. They just wanna tune out inwards. That's right.
Yeah. Do you think that's what Different Love is?
Well, I think I was thinking that mainly I think because of what we talked about sometimes when releasing an album, right? And how people don't listen to albums, and Different Love is a 20-song album, right? So that's I think we made an effort to make it the hardest to be listened to, this album, to make it so anyone could listen to it, really, because that's and I'm now realizing I have my mouse on your eye. So I'm recording that. But so it's all about man, I lost track. Fuck. What was it?
You were saying because I asked you about do you think that's Different Love, the feeling of like wanting to be in your own world, wanting to create your own world, and you said we tried to make it the longest album because it's the hardest album to listen to.
Yes, I think we purposely did that because you know it's just I think we were trying to make our own like fantasy world with this album, really, and with making it 20 song album, because we knew I guess we had the fantasy that in a perfect world or whatever, it couldn't matter, right? Because we thought it didn't matter, because we thought something of quality, or something that, or not even quality, but something that has some honest truths that maybe even are not, and that might be the most interesting point, is that it's not, they are not honest truths that are said all the time, really. I think there's some things in this album that are very special, and that are very unique, I guess. And I think people can derive meaning from this album. And so I think that because we thought this way about it, we didn't care, and we maybe even consciously went for the 20 songs, so that, because we thought it couldn't matter, because we thought it shouldn't matter to other people, right? Something along those lines, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this record is good to listen to on a road trip, I've noticed. I've played it on the road, driving a few times, and it plays pretty nicely because as the scenery changes, the songs change, and the feels, and there's a lot of different feels, and it doesn't really get boring. It does get long, though. You get like tired of the production, and you get tired of the voices, and you get tired of the way that we wrote the music, but it does feel like there's a good variety, and it does. I've listened to it on a road trip, and it plays pretty good on a road trip.
That's a good insight.
And it's our own world that we created, and the whole concept of a different love itself we could talk about for ages, but essentially, I think we got the meat of it. We got all the songs we talked about. You ate all the hot wings. Now it's time for the last dab.
Awful.
What are we doing now?
I don't know, man. Well, how have you been, though? Just in general, bad?